Yeah, it's Johnny Grube from WildManTraining.com. Since we live in a society today where so many men are looking for masculinity role models, I want to talk a second about Jordan Peterson. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Jordan Peterson, but he was I think a psychology professor in Canada somewheres, and he got his fame by refusing to identify transgenders with their proper pronouns. So this is how he built his business, and it wasn't. I don't think it was done purposely. It was just something that happened, and he was interviewed, and it took off. I've listened to Jordan Peterson. I listen to his things. I just really can't get into him. He just, to me, I look at him, I see him. He just does not resonate with me. To me, I look at a weak man, even though he is a psychologist or whatever he is. He doesn't resonate with me. Maybe it's because the stuff he says I already know. I don't need help from him. But I did listen to it. I tried to give him a shot, and I even read his book. I actually listened to an audio book, and I couldn't get through it. It just, maybe it's his voice. I don't know. I'm just not into him. So another guy made a video on YouTube about Jordan Peterson, and apparently Jordan Peterson is in rehab for a drug, trying to get off an addicted drug. His wife got cancer, and I guess he couldn't handle it, so he got on some type of drug to keep him, anti-anxiety drug or something. I don't know. But if you look back, Jordan Peterson has been taking drugs for a long time for depression and other types of things. Here's a man that's talking about strength and how to change your life, 12 steps to change your life, or whatever, and he's taking drugs to change his life. See, I have a problem with this. I'm not kicking a man when he's down, and it doesn't matter if I am. I mean, I have that right. If a guy is out there pushing something, he's pushing his wellness and ways to live a life, and yet he's only being able to live his life through drugs, through pharmaceutical drugs, then why am I going to listen to this guy? It's just like me listening to a fat guy about diet, or a doctor that's talking to me about my health who smokes. Again, I have nothing against Jordan Peterson. Like I said, I listen to his stuff. I try to just listen to what everybody else is saying. Everybody was saying, and I believe he's a weak man, strong man is what I believe. I believe men who are actually weak resonate with this guy. I look at him and I just see weakness. And then when I heard he was on drugs and what he struggled with his whole life, and I'm not educated. I'm not formally educated. I'm not on any drugs. I've had anxiety and panic attacks. I had a pretty fucked up childhood, and didn't get any better for me when I had my first kid at 17 years old. And from there, I mean, try raising a kid at 17 years old. I got somebody responsible for me. Well, I didn't turn to drugs. Life gets hard, man. I didn't turn to booze. I'm not going to the doctor looking for pharmaceutical drugs, but I should listen to Jordan Peterson or somebody like this guy who can't handle his own emotions, who can't handle his own life. This is what we're into now in society. These are the people that people are looking into, and I know he's helped millions of people. Hey, that's great. I hope he's helped them. But how can you take a man seriously when his whole life he struggled and he's still on drugs? I want to look for a guy who's lived their lives honestly, and I'm not saying he's done this to try to fool anybody, or he's ever tried to hide it. He hasn't. But when I have an opinion and I don't want to follow him, that makes me a bad guy. It makes me a bad guy because I call out his weakness, that he needs drugs. I'll be called an idiot, even though I don't need drugs to cope. And believe me, anybody that knows me will tell you I could probably get on a lot of drugs if I went to the doctors. But see, that's where you build strength. That's when you spend some time alone and try to find yourself and figure it out. When you take drugs, you're almost always going to be on drugs. Almost never do people ever get off of a pharmaceutical drug that the doctor puts them on. And then what they do is they use it as an excuse as why they are the way they are. Oh, I can't do this, or I'm like that because I'm on this drug, and I'll never be able to take off it because now I'm on this drug. These are choices you make. And you people out there can make the choice of who you want to follow, and that's fine. But just because I don't follow him, or I think he's a weak man, doesn't mean he isn't a weak man. I want to know and learn from people that are better than I am, that are stronger than I am, physically and mentally. Just because you think he's a strong man, it's probably because you're a weak man. And you need to do whatever you need to do to make your life work. But because he doesn't resonate with me, doesn't make me a bad guy. Later.